Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Alright, if you love Froslass, I have a treat for you. Froslass is actually the Ice Queen of the Holiday Cup. So, of course, Holiday Cup has to have the Ice theme in it, but literally, Snow Queen Froslass she's extremely powerful in this meta. And you're gonna see just how crazy good she is in the rankings and in the Matrix, because Froslass is one of those mons where it's actually going to give you a lot of positive matchups and allow you to take shields and apply pressure on your opponent. The thing about Froslass is a glass cannon. Now what glass cannons are, they have high attack, low defense, and low stamina. In Froslass in Great League, that's true for it in that sense, because as you see here, very high attack, low defense, and somewhat even stamina. Froslass can take a lot of hits, especially what it's weak against. However, it has very hard-hitting moves, and with the buff to Powder Snow, it makes it very, very powerful in the Holiday Cup. And for Open Great League, Froslass is actually pretty dang good in Open Great League if you use her. She is very strong, as she's, like I said, mentioned before, she's able to give you a lot of advantages by breaking your opponent's shields and putting heavy pressure on your opponent. If you don't have shields, and it hits you with an Avalanche or a Shadow Ball, it's going to suck, because you know why? It's going to hurt, and you're probably going to die. Ice Queen sports one of a very good moveset. As you see here, Powder Snow, Shadow Ball, Avalanche, and Crunch. Now, you want to go with Avalanche and Shadow Ball because you get stat for both of those moves. What stat? It's called Same Type Attack Bonus. With Same Type Attack Bonus, you can get your extra bonus damage with those moves, plus coupled with Froslass's attack as a glass cannon, she is able to destroy a lot of things, especially if any of her moves land. Because her moves hit so hard, your opponent will be prompted to shield most of the time. Now, the thing about Froslass and what kind of makes it a little scary to run despite it being so powerful on the attack end is it is a glass cannon. Because of that, you need to be a little careful because as you see, it has a lot of weaknesses. It is weak to Dark, Fire, Ghost, Rock, and Steel. So Rock Blast from Alolan Graveler is going to suck because rocks are going to hit and they're going to hit hard. Dark types do exist in this meta. For example, Obstagoon's Night Slashes do hurt a lot. Fire types like Alolan Marowak, Ghosts, of course, other Froslasses, as well as those Shadow Bone and Shadow Ball from Alolan Marowak, and of course Steel type damage, which is basically, I think, the most relevant ones, probably Mirror Shot from Magnezone. You do resist a ton of things though. It does have great resistances against the meta. As you see here, you are able to double resist normal because of the Ghost typing. With the Ghost typing, it makes it... The interesting part about this is despite Froslass being a... Because fighting is double... Like, you double resist... Ghost double resist fighting. As you see here, you actually resist fighting. So you do resist counter users despite having that Ice type with you. You resist counter users. You resist those cross chops from Obstagoon, etc. Normal slime, body slimes do not do much against you. You also resist bug, ice, and poison. So ice means like things like other Froslasses, icy winds, and poison damage. I don't believe there's a lot of poison damage in this meta in the Holiday Cup. However, you do resist that as well. Alright, here are the PPoke.com rankings. As you see here, Froslass ranks at number 6. She is incredibly powerful in this meta. Surprisingly, she's actually strong in all positions. Best used as a switch. She's a fantastic safe switch because she's able to break shields. Froslass will either give you shields or it will give you switch, depending on what you're facing. For most matchups, it's very, very powerful. She's able to give you a huge advantage because of the amount of pressure, like I mentioned. That's why she's as you see across the board, number 98 charger, not like 98% charge, all A's across the board for grades, and extremely powerful in all positions. She gets an A for practically every position, 90 and above. As you see here, your key wins are against pseudo fighters. Vigorot's a big one. Altaria, especially Altaria. If you get an Altaria, you will yeet Altaria to the next Ice Age if you do hit it with an Avalanche. You will get buried underneath a bunch of ice, and you will end up on the next scene of Titanic. At least the Bluebird will, just because ice double kills Dragon and Flying. And you're going to say GG's. It's interesting because it also beats things like Obama Snow and Diggersby. So it has a lot of play against a lot of strong picks because of how much damage Avalanche does, how much pressure it generally puts on your opponent. Now, the dangerous thing is here is, as you see here, it does have some losses. It does have some key losses. For example, Alola Marowak, Skarmory, Obstagoon, Wigglytuff, and Graveler. Those are very strong picks. It's going to be really weird how the meta shapes out. However, even if you get a negative matchup, for example, against, you're gonna get a shield from Alola Marowak because if Shadow Ball hits, it will kill you. Same thing with Skarmory, Obstagoon, Wigglytuff, and Graveler. You're going to get shields. Very likely you will get shields because it's going to hurt so hard. It hits very, very hard. Yes, you will have to shield. However, you're going to do heavy damage against them. Unless it's a Alolan Graveler. You have to be careful because Froslass does not like rocks, and rocks hurt. As you see, as the lead, Froslass ranks at number... No, wait, she's lower than that, actually. She ranks at number 27. So, her worst position is the lead, but she still ranks very high. If you get energy advantage, you win the lead, you get energy advantage, which Froslass, it really sucks, because she's going to hit you really hard. As you see here, you do win against what you mentioned in the overall statement here. In the 2-shield, you do beat Vigoroth, Altaria, Stunfisk, Diggersby, and Obama Snow. And you lose against the aforementioned what we did from before. The more interesting notes are its closers and switch scenarios, which are actually its stronger positions versus the lead. As you see in the closer, it actually ranks at number 4, which is one of the strongest closers in the entire Holiday Cup meta. Remember what I mentioned? You're going to do a lot of damage. Where you lose against Wigglytuff just because it has shields. If Wigglytuff doesn't have shields, you're gonna Avalanche destroys it, as you see here. You also beat Stunfisk, Altaria, Alola Marowak, and you beat Vigoroth as well. Now, its key losses, as you see, Skarmory does kind of suck because even though you do neutral damage with your Powder Snows, it's still very dangerous in the closer, especially with no shields. Froslass does have a chance in the closer against a lot of things it outpaces. If you don't outpace whatever it is, or you don't OKO what's in the closer, it's very likely you're going to get hit, and it's going to suck because it's going to hurt a lot. Now in the switch, Froslass is also an incredibly powerful switch. As you see here, it's actually the number 2 switch in the game other than Vigoroth. So it's very, very powerful in all positions, primarily as a switch and closer. However, if you close or switch in Froslass, and especially if you have energy, you can still use it in the lead. Because like I said, if you have energy lead with Froslass, they lose. You have energy lead, you're going to take shields. It's just that good. As you see, as a switch, it does beat everything. It can even beat a lot. The funny thing is even though it does lose against a lot of what you win, it can actually flip. For example, you can beat Alolan Graveler as in the switch. It's like nuts at how it works. So it does flip a lot of matchups that technically beat it, but it's very like with that ability to switch, it's very, very fair, very, very powerful. Very strong, as you see in this meta, and it's definitely worth... If you like Ice Queen, guess what? She's going to get you a lot of W's, and she will be the queen of the Holiday Cup. Alright, here's the favorite part of the video for me. It's the ppoke.com rankings. If you would like to, please consider donating. This open source website is absolutely amazing. The human being that makes it is a great dude. He's super awesome. Matt is a great... I can't say enough how much he's done for the Battlers community, as well as being able to help me and you become better and better players every single day. Here we have Froslass. You don't want to run any other moveset other than Avalanche or Shadow Ball. The reason being is because you get stabbed with both of these moves, like I mentioned, and Powder Snow does generate energy. Here's what we will do. So Powder Snow is the way to go. However, just for science and to give a comparison, we will see the Hex variant. Hex got buffed not too long ago as well, so it's not a bad moveset. And if you like Hex, it does give you that Alolan Marowak. It does help you against Alolan Marowak, so... It's very worth noting. Let's look at both. Let's look at both variations. Both variations are definitely worth looking into. So as you see here, I already put the Holiday Cup meta on the right. We have the 2-shield scenario. We're gonna run it. So as you see, we run it. And as you see, Powder Snow does have distinct differences versus the Hex variant. I've accidentally ran the Hex variant in certain tournaments, and I actually ended up losing because I forgot to switch it around. Double check your movesets with your Froslass. As you see here, Froslass is actually able to defeat Obama Snow. Barely beat it in the 2-shield if you switch. Yeah, you're barely able to beat it in the 2-shield, as you see here. That's what gives the Powder Snow variant. So you freeze each other to death. You literally freeze each other to death. Now be very, very careful because as you see here, this is a very close matchup. A very close. Literally 2 turns of lag will flip this scenario. So, so IVs matter when it comes to Froslass. It's a very close matchup against Bomb Snow. However, you can beat it. Just being able to beat something like Obama, which is very powerful in this meta, is very good. And you can win against it in the lead. Just be mindful, it's so close. Like, it's 1 HP in a dream. You do beat Altaria, of course. You beat it with both variations. And as you see here, you also beat Diggersby, Drifblim with the Power Snow variant. The Hex variant, this is where it puts a limitation on you. Because normal types resist Ghost. And as you see here, Hex makes you lose hard against Diggersby just because of that Ghost. Just because of that Ghost typing. So be careful when it comes to like what you're up against. If you know you're running the Hex variant and you're like, oh crud, that is a Diggersby, then you want to get out of there. However, in other words, you want to beat it. As you see here with the Hex variant, you actually beat the Mirror Frostless. So Hex does do some good. It allows you to beat in the mirror. However, it flips the Galvantula mirror. So without Powder Snow, you do lose against Galvantula. Galvantula is able to take you down, so be very careful. The Hex variant also allows you to beat Lapras, and the reason being is because Powder Snow is resisted by Lapras. Well, it's actually double resisted by Lapras because Lapras is ice and water. So be careful about Lapras because it does beat you. You'll force shields from Lapras, but it's not going to feel comfortable because you do lose that matchup. So just be mindful of that. However, the funny thing is the Hex variant actually does allow you to beat Lapras just because you do resist those. It's a close matchup because a 550 matchup is still very, very close. Don't get me wrong. It's still close. As you see here, you Shadow Ball it to Oblivion. So you have to double bait, which it's kind of risky to be honest with you if you run the Hex because as you see here, you have to double bait. They can beat you straight Surf. So Lapras is a dangerous matchup. If you land the Shadow Ball, you win, but you have to land the Shadow Ball. So it's a very baity matchup. So don't really depend too much on the Hex for this one. You do lose against Magnezone. Remember what I mentioned? Unfortunately, Froslass is glassy. Because of that, those mirror shots do hurt. And they hurt a lot. They hurt a lot more than you think they do. So make sure you be careful of steel typings. Froslass is weak to steel typings. As you see here, these mirror shots actually hurt a lot. And if you do eat them, you might, and let's see if you can actually win. If this is a mirror shot, for example, okay, so not a wild charge. If this is a mirror shot, can you go straight mirror shot? Actually, why am I making this harder? Just do this. Take out wild charge, put the mirror shot in there, update. Actually, here, there you go. I'm making this way too complicated. Magnezone still wins. So Magnezone can still beat you just going straight mirror shot, as you see here. Magnezone just wins straight mirror shot, just because it's super effective damage. You won't be able to get to your third move, as you see here. These mirror shots will just chunk you down. It's even worse, even if you don't get the debuff, as you see here, the mirror shot does get the debuff on this line. Even if you don't get it, don't apply the debuffs, you still lose. As you see here, you're still going to lose. So even if you don't get debuffed, you're going to lose. So just be careful of Magnezone. Magnezone is actually viable in this meta. It is the Flying UFO of Doom, and the Flying UFO of Doom will electrocute you to death and drop a bunch of steel. You also lose against Mana Buzz, so Ghost and Dark. Remember I was mentioned Dark types are really strong against you. Mana Buzz, even though you do beat it, those Foul Plays plus Snarl do super effective damage, and because Froslass can't tank that damage, it will lose that matchup. So if you see Mana Buzz, do run. Along with Alolan Marowak. Alolan Marowak you lose in both variants just because AWAC hits really hard with those fire spins. It's also really bulky. Now here's the thing. You can flip this matchup and you will see in certain scenarios where you can. However, for the general purposes, if you get the 2 shield with Marowak, run. You beat Alolan Sandslash, which is actually really funny because it does resist your Powder Snows, but you actually beat it. Now be careful because unless you're holding the Hex variant, it's a close matchup because you have to double bait with your ice. As you see here, double bait with Avalanche, then you have Shadow Ball. You have to land a Shadow Ball to win. So just like the Lapras matchup, it's very baity. However, with the Hex variation, you do win comfortably. So just keep that in mind. The Hex variation, you can beat it very comfortably. You beat Skarmory in the lead as well. That's why it's so good it's so good as a switch because you beat a lot of really relevant meta matchups and it's really, really strong. As you see here, you're actually able to defeat Skarmory. You beat Stunfisk. You beat Vigoroth into 2 shield because those body slams are resisted. You do lose against Charmers though. That's a big F with Froslass is that you do lose against Charmers. Charmers with shields suck. You can beat them in the closers, but like if they have shields, you're gonna have a hard time taking down Charmers just because they can just charm you down with shields. Froslass is really great strength, as you see in the 2 shield. It's able to force shield or do heavy damage. So you want to make sure that those shields are down before you actually, you want to make sure shields are down. Alright, we've investigated 2 shield. Now I'm going to run the 1 shield. As you see here, in the 1 shield, things get a little dicey. So in 2 shield, I went really deep into the 2 shield scenario because I really wanted you to see just why Fraslass is such a great safe switch, because it beats a lot of positive matchups, or it's going to force shields. It's going to do a lot of damage. Now I'm going to go through a little quickly through the 1s and the 0s. However, the 0s, you just nuke everything. That's all you need. Just nuke them. Just nuke them. As you see here in the 1s, you do beat Obama, so you beat Altaria, Dugong, and Diggersby with Powder Snow. As you see, it's very, very powerful still in the 1 shield. As long as Fraslass has shields, it's still very strong. Now, you do lose against Fraslass in the mirror. You're going to lose against Galvantula, and you will get out-pressured by Graveler, so just be careful. You will also lose against both versions of Lampert and Lapras. So you lose against a lot of water types and whatever resists Powder Snow or ice types in general. Just whatever resists ice, that's what you see why you lose so hard against all those matchups. Also, Obstagoon does outpressure you in the 1 shield because of those Night Slash. If it hits you with a Night Slash, it's going to suck. Also, in the 1 shield, you do lose the Alolan Sand Slash matchup. You can beat it with a Hex, but you lose the Alolan Slash. You lose in the 1 shield. In the 1 shield, you're able to beat Stunfisk. However, you're also able to flip Talonflame. So if Talonflame will win in the 2s, but it loses in the 1 shield. You still beat Vigoroth, and you're actually able to beat Whimsicott just going straight Avalanche. So you go straight Avalanche. So you can flip one of the 2 main Charmers in the Holiday Cup, which is really good. So it still has a lot of play in the 1 shield. So you're able to flip like I said, you're able to flip Charm matchup, and you do have some spotted matchups still. However, be very careful in the 1 shield, because if they do resist your Powder Snows or your Avalanches, etc., you do lose against it. Or if it just outpressures you. In the 0s, things do change. As you see, the 0s, the safe switch and in the closer, which is the 0 shield, is the strongest position for Froslass. Froslass does best in these positions because it's so powerful and does so much damage. It will KO a lot of things. As you see here, you beat Obama you beat Altara, you beat Dugong. Now, you do lose against Diggersby unless you have energy advantage here. The reason why you lose against Diggersby is because Fire Punch sucks. And Diggersby, because it's thick enough, it will get 2 Fire Punches, as you see here. However, you can win this. Like I said, if you have energy advantage, you can win this matchup. So as you see here, if we actually give Froslass, say you get like 3 Powder Snows ahead, so you have starting energy. Powder Snow gives 8. Okay, Powder Snow gives 8 energy. You can win this matchup. As you see here, Froslass wins. As long as you have an energy lead, you can take it out. You just have to make sure you get it before they get to the second Fire Punch. And that's GG's. You beat Drifblim. Drifblim, yes, you flip the Drifblim matchup now because Drifblim just dies to Froslass just because of those Shadow Ball. That Shadow Ball kills. Shadow Ball is going to nuke you. And of course, unless whichever Froslass is ahead on energy is going to beat each other because the Shadow Balls suck. You do beat Galvantula in the closer, so you are able to take out Galv in the closer. You will lose against Alolan Graveler, unfortunately. Alolan Graveler sucks, and it's going to hit you really hard, that Rock Blast. And you still lose against Lantern or Lapras. And Mandibuzz. So Dark types, Water types, Ice types, you still lose against them. You do flip the Magnezone matchup in the 0s. You are able to actually just, I believe you Shadow Ball Magnezone to death. And you're also able to Shadow Ball, you're able to ball down Marowak and Magnezone. Ball out, and the ball actually takes out a lot of really good meta picks, and it's really good. As you see, you're able to take out Snorlax straight Avalanche. Avalanche does hit Thick Boy Lax or Thick Girl Lax very, very hard. As you see here, double Avalanche does KO Snorlax. You also beat Stunfisk. You beat both Charmers in the closer. This is what makes it really good. Fraslass is actually able to defeat a lot of its matchups in certain scenarios. As you see here, with Energy Lead or in certain shield scenarios, you're actually able to beat Whimsicott and Jigglypuff. Yes, Charmers do pose a high threat against you if you're in the 2 shield. However, you're able to flip that. As you see here, you can flip in the closer. You flip Whimsicott, I believe, in the 1s and the 0s, and you flip Wigglytuff in the 0s. So it's very interesting just how Froslass is just so powerful. She's able to just like literally gun down everything you know and love with those shots. Yeah, she's good, okay? Especially when she has shield advantage. If you are up shields, here's what happens. Froslass just goes to town and balls you down. The Hadoukens come out and they fly out everywhere, and you actually beat everything in the meta up 1 shield. It's nuts. When I took a look at this before running the simulator, I was like, wow, you know what? Froslass is actually really dang good. And then I saw this and I was like, oh. Well. Dang. Because it's just that good. In the 1 to 0s, you actually defeat the entire meta. You literally give 1 shield. 1 shield in the 1 to 0s, Froslass actually beats the entire meta. And it's the same thing for the 2 shield. So in the 2 shield, Froslass, if you thought the 1 shield was oppressive, watch the 2 shield. Nothing in the high meta beats Froslass in the 0s and if it has shields. Now, in the shield advantage, kind of something's different in the 2-to-1 when you have shield advantage, as you see here. In the 2-to-1s, you do lose matchups. You will lose against Obstagoon, Dugong. Well, actually, you lose against Dugong, depending on what variant. As you see, some matches do flip. Dugong in the 2-to-1s, you beat with Hex. Diggersby, you beat with Avalanche. So, I mean, with Powder Snow. So, there's distinct differences in some matchups. Some of the main matchups, though, is definitely Obstagoon and Snorlax in the 2-to-1s, just because those licks suck, and because Froslass is a glass cannon, that damage adds up. Also, in the 2-to-1s, you will lose against Wigglytuff, and you beat Froslass in the... I mean, you'll beat Whimsicott in the 1. So, Froslass is able to beat Whimsicott in the 1 shield. As you see, other than those, like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 matchups, and some of those, like, really weird matchups you flip depending on the moveset you're in, it's still very, very powerful. You'll still beat a lot of the meta in the 2-to-1s. Froslass is incredibly powerful for the Holiday Cup. If you're considering using it, she's not a bad option to run. It's actually a really great option to run for the Holiday Cup. 10 out of 10. She's the queen. You do not... she is the queen. You must bow down to the queen of the Holiday Cup, because she is the queen. Froslass, 10 out of 10 automatically. Very powerful in all positions. Very powerful in all positions. Is able to flip almost all of her relevant losing matchups. For example, I'm not talking about like really specific hard counter picks, however, like all meta picks, as long in all scenarios. She's able to flip a losing matchup in a certain scenario. As you see here, very powerful in all positions. In the 2-to-1s, 64, 71. And one of her best traits is if you're in the zeros, she's able to do a lot of damage. But most importantly, as you see here, it gets even better. The less shields he has, the more powerful she gets while in even scenarios. Now, if you get shield advantage, for example, the 1-to-0s, she beats 99% of the meta. Only 3 things beat her. A Litleo, a Dunsparce, and a Weavile. That's how powerful Froslass is. If you take your shield from your opponent and you have Froslass with shields, she is going to, and your opponent doesn't have energy advantage or anything special, she will destroy everything. She's like, I don't know why she isn't the number 1. Well, actually, I understand statistically why she is not the number 1 closer, because of wild charge users. However, as you see here, she's just good. 1-to-0s. Only 3 losses against 3 really weird picks that probably aren't going to be meta. So, she's really strong. In the 2-to-0s, nothing beats this queen. Actually, 2 things beat the queen, but like I said, Litleo and Dunsparce. Dunsparce. Okay, so, but still, nothing beats the queen. Like, anything relevant doesn't beat the queen. If you see a Litleo in a Holiday Cup, then message me, please, because I want to know who's using it. And as you see here, in the 2-to-1s with shield advantage, you give her shield advantage, she's still very powerful. As you see, only losing things like Sableye, Moltres, Watchog, really odd picks, some relevant ones, but yeah, really odd picks as well. She's just really good. In all positions, Froslass will give you shields or give you shield. Well, she'll give you shields. The queen she's just so good. Froslass has very little cons, other than the fact that in negative matchups, you kind of have to be careful because she is glassy. Because she's a glass cannon, you have to be mindful of her HP. However, other than that, she's best used in the safe. She's one of the best safe switches in the game. Actually, in Holiday Cup, she's literally one of the best safe switches. And as you see here, in the 1-to-0s, being able to literally beat the entire meta in the almost the entire... Well, actually, she does beat the entire meta. She just loses against really weird picks. Again, if you guys really want to use Froslass, she is freaking amazing for the Holiday Cup. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. I'll be doing more analysis in the future. However, from the look here, the queen is the queen. Bow down to the queen, and she will send you to the next rafters after Titanic crashes. Actually, that's a really bad analogy. Please don't let that happen again. She will, however, she won't run you into the iceberg. She will make you the iceberg. I hope you guys are having good luck on your Go Battle League sets, and I will see you on the next video.